When a person commits a crime in the world, the police arrest him and the punishment is given according to his crime. Currently, most criminals are simply kept imprisoned. But there are still some countries in the world where criminals are punished in such inhumane ways while in prison that it is beyond endurance. Syria's Sadnaya prison in Damascus is an example of such a living hell, where death was much happier than life for the prisoners. Human life had no value here. Those rebels who opposed Bashar al-Assad's brutal rule were imprisoned in this prison, and these prisoners were tortured in such barbaric ways that you would get goosebumps after hearing it. There were numerous methods of torture here, one of the popular methods being drip water torture. In this torture, the criminal was taken to a dark room and laid on a table. Then the prisoner's hands and feet were tied tightly, and his head was clamped tightly so that he could not move even an inch. Then, a container filled with cold water was hung a few feet above the prisoner's head. Although this container was a simple container, there was a small hole at the bottom, and this hole was made so small that water would come out drop by drop irregularly. And this drop of water would start falling right on the prisoner's forehead. Now you might think what problem these drops of water can cause. Initially, these drops will seem very annoying, but over time, each drop will become very impactful. At one point, each drop will seem like a thunderbolt, and the person will gradually feel pain. It will seem as if these drops are drilling his brain, but in reality, these drops of water are not physically harming him. But this torture continues for months, not hours, and for the prisoner, each drop brings a new torment. And gradually, at one point, it seems to him that each drop is hitting his head with a hammer. He cannot rest properly, he cannot sleep properly, and he cannot escape from this torture. In fact, in this method, the drops of water do not fall continuously like a tap. If they did, the prisoner would get used to it like meditation. Each drop comes at an unexpected time. The prisoner watches how the drops of water are slowly forming and waits for when this drop will fall on him. And when this process continues for months, the prisoner eventually goes crazy. White room torture. White room is a method of punishment that mentally tortures criminals without causing physical harm. This method of punishment is very popular in Iran and Venezuela. In this method, criminals are kept confined in a pure white room. Everything in this room, from the walls to the floor and ceiling, is white. Even the criminal is made to wear white clothes, and a white bright light is kept on in the room 24 hours a day. And this room is totally soundproof. The guards here wear rubber shoes so that there is no sound. The prisoner inside cannot make any kind of sound or request. White pieces of paper are used to make requests. When food is given to the prisoner through a small window, this food is also placed on a white plate with white rice. If you want to go to the bathroom, you have to request it on white paper through the door. Then a bathroom is opened for him, and everything in this bathroom is white. For the first few days, you might feel a little unusual, but when you see nothing but white color day after day, your mind will gradually start to lose control. This is a kind of extreme sensory deprivation. There is no color, no smell, no visual, no natural light, and no clock in this room. He will not even know how many days he has been here or when he is being fed. And he has no companion to talk to. Gradually, intense loneliness, depression, and anxiety will increase in the prisoner. After a few months of this, he will start to lose himself, and he will start hallucinating and talking to himself like a madman. In Iran, journalists who oppose the government are tortured in this white room. In 2004, a journalist named Amir Fakra was kept confined in a white room for almost 8 months. Although he was not physically tortured, he still has not recovered from that terrible mental anguish. Even today, he is afraid of seeing white color. Tiger chair. In the Middle Ages, a torture device was designed to force criminals to confess their crimes, called the chair torture. These were usually made of iron or wood, and the seat, back, and leg supports were covered with hundreds of sharp nails. Then the criminal was seated in this chair, and the truth was sought from his mouth. If he did not confess his crime, the strips attached to this chair were tightened, and the criminal was forced to confess his crime due to the pain. This cruel punishment is still practiced in China today, known as the tiger chair. These chairs are made of steel, and metal clamps are used to prevent the criminal from moving. However, unlike the medieval chairs, there are no spikes in it. Chinese police use this chair to interrogate and punish prisoners. Criminals are kept seated in this chair for several hours to several weeks, and sitting in the same position causes a lot of pressure on the muscles and joints, resulting in serious problems like muscle and nerve damage. And even after being released, the person cannot walk properly. Spice punishment. If we talk about spicy and hot food, there are many people in the world who like this spicy food. But you will be surprised to hear that there are some jails in India where prisoners are punished by eating the hottest chilies. In this type of punishment, criminals are fed food cooked only with hot chilies, and these foods have excessive chili powder added compared to ordinary food. These foods are not cooked properly either. Criminals are given the same type of food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, meaning they eat only hot chilies for months. And if the prisoners refuse to eat this food, they are beaten and forced to swallow these chilies. And to make them suffer even more, they are not given water. Extreme temperature. The human body is not created to withstand very high or very low temperatures. But there are some countries in the world where criminals are punished by making them stand in these extreme temperatures. This type of punishment is very popular in Egypt and Russia. During the summer months in Egypt, the temperature reaches about 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. At this time, there are some jails in Egypt where criminals are kept confined in cells with very high temperatures to increase their suffering. Even heaters are installed inside the cells to raise the temperature. The temperature in the cells becomes so high that they feel as if their bodies are burning in fire. There are no fans or lights in these cells, and no ventilation for air to enter. And to make them suffer even more, they are given hot water to drink. Not only that, in Siberia, Russia, where the temperature reaches -50 to -60 degrees Celsius, prisoners are made to stand on ice for several hours without jackets and shoes. And they are made to wear thin clothes and kept confined in small cages where they can see the open sky while standing. And their bodies freeze in the cold in such a way that they lose the ability to walk properly. Flogging. In the Middle Ages, when a person committed a crime, he was taken in front of everyone and punished with whipping. But do you know that there are still some countries in the world where this punishment is practiced? Flogging punishment is very common in Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Iran, and Indonesia. Especially whipping is a popular method of punishment in Saudi Arabia. Although criminals of serious crimes are beheaded in front of everyone in Saudi Arabia, if a criminal has an illegal relationship, drinks alcohol, makes false accusations against an innocent person, or makes mocking comments about Islam, then he is taken to a public place and whipped in front of all the spectators standing there. In Sudan, this punishment continues until blood comes out of the criminal's body. On the other hand, in Indonesia, the criminal is lightly beaten, ensuring that there are no scars on the person's body. In fact, the main purpose of this method of punishment is to embarrass the person in front of everyone.